Alright, let's be real for a second. Your PS5 is probably loaded with the usual suspect. Spider-Man swinging around New York? Check. Kratos grunting his way through mythology? Double check. But what if I told you that some of the best gaming experiences on PS5 are the ones you completely missed? I'm talking about hidden gems. Games that snuck in quietly, got buried under the hype of 8A monsters, or just didn't scream loud enough in the trailer, but once you dive in, boom, instant obsession. Today we're cracking open the vault of underrated, underplayed, and criminally overlooked PS5 titles that deserve your time. Some are bite-sized indie surprises. Others are full-blown adventures that flew under the radar like ninjas in the fog. And a few, well, they might just become your next gaming addiction. So buckle up. Because if you think you've played it all, think again. This list is about to surprise you. You might even end up asking yourself, how the heck did I miss this one? Let's jump in. You ready? Origami II proves that the art of shadow hopping, ninja stealth, isn't dead. In fact, it might be one of the best stealth experiences you can have on PS5, and hardly anyone knows about it. You are an Origami, a supernatural assassin with the power to control shadow. Think Tenchu meets Dishonored, but with an extra layer of co-op fun. That's right, this game isn't just stealthy solo sneaking, though it's great for that. You can team up with up to 3 players in co-op to stalk the night together. There's something ridiculously cool about coordinating silent takedowns with friends, clearing an enemy outpost like lethal ghosts, and disappearing without a trace. The gameplay emphasizes being a complete ghost. You're rewarded for not being seen, and for creatively dispatching or bypassing enemies. You've got a toolbox of ninja tricks: teleport between shadows, turn invisible briefly, throw knives, use smoke bombs, and even use special shadow powers to yank enemies or create decoys. Levels are sandboxy arenas with lots of verticality and hidden routes. You're basically playing through a series of open-ended missions where the goal might be assassination, rescue, or intel gathering. How you do it is up to you. Want to perch on a rooftop? Mark every guard? Then pick them off one by one like a calculated predator? Go for it. Or maybe you're a pacifist ninja who wants to complete the objective without killing a soul, slipping by like a whisper. Totally viable too. The mechanics are so solid that when something goes wrong, you usually know it was your slip-up, and if you get spotted, you can fight. But you're squishy. A true ninja doesn't love open combat. The story is there. Feudal fantasy setting, clan conflicts, mystical plague, etc. But to be honest, it's serviceable at best. The real meat is the gameplay, which is engaging enough to keep you playing, regardless of narrative. Visually, it's got a nice stylized look. Think ink painting aesthetics with modern flair. And it's smooth on PS5, which is crucial for a stealth game where frame rate can make or break a tight situation. Now, stealth games are niche, so Origami II flew under the radar, but if you have any love for sneaking, this game is like a celebration of that old school stealth we rarely see nowadays. And if you have mates who also enjoy feeling like ninjas, the co-op here is a rare treat. Very few stealth games let you team up like this. Even trophy hunters will find a fun challenge. Going for S ranks on all missions, no detections, quick runs, will truly test your mastery. Origami II is all about hiding in the shadows and striking when the moment is right. A pure stealth hidden gem that deserves a spot in your library, especially when you're in the mood to become one with the night. Don't write off Astro's Playroom as just a tech demo. This little platformer is a delightful surprise packed into every PS5. It's essentially a playable love letter to PlayStation's past and future, filled with nostalgia-inducing collectibles and cheeky cameos from classic franchises. You'll be buzzing with excitement as the DualSense controller springs to life in your hands. Feeling Astro skate across ice or pull back a bowstring is almost magic. The levels are wildly creative. One minute you're a springy frog, the next a jetpack monkey, and they're all about showcasing cool mechanics without ever feeling like a tutorial. It's upbeat, colorful, and accessible. Die as much as you want. There's no game over to kill the vibe. And trophy hunters, listen up. This is one easy platinum that's actually a joy to collect. By the end, you'll be grinning ear to ear, humming the catchy GPU song, and wondering how a free pack-in game ended up being one of the most charming platformers in years. Seriously, give Astro a chance. It's the hidden gem that was hiding in plain sight on your PS5. Chernobylite drops you into one of the most haunting real-world locations, the Chernobyl exclusion zone, and then twists it with a sci-fi horror tale that will keep you on edge. You play as Igor, a physicist and former Chernobyl employee, returning to Pripyat decades after the disaster to uncover the truth behind your fiancée Tatiana's disappearance. The game masterfully blends stalker-style survival gameplay with narrative-driven RPG elements, creating an experience that's as eerie as it is engaging. By day, you'll explore the ghostly ruins of Chernobyl, abandoned schools, crumbling reactor facilities, overgrown streets with that famous Ferris wheel looming in the distance, 34s. The developers actually 3D scanned the real zone, so the atmosphere is off the charts. It's oppressive, lonely, and fascinating all at once. And then there's the Chernobylite itself, a mysterious alien mineral that opens wormholes and brings supernatural nasties into the mix. Cue the tense encounters with strange creatures and armed mercenaries amid the radioactive fallout. Gameplay-wise, Chernobylite gives you a lot to handle: base building, crafting, team management, stealth, shooting, and decision-making. Each day you plan a mission, gather supplies, investigate clues, help someone in need, and also assign tasks to any companions you've recruited. Yes, you can meet and recruit a handful of fellow stalkers, each with their own skills and personalities, to help you survive. But be careful, resources are scarce, and you've got to keep your squad fed, armed, and mentally stable. The survival element is strong. You'll need to manage your inventory, craft ammo, build workbenches back at your base, and even decorate your base to keep everyone's psyche in check. And if that sounds like a lot, it is. But the game balances it by not overwhelming you too quickly. It slowly expands its systems as you progress. One of the coolest aspects is the non-linear story. You gather clues and piece together what happened to Tatiana, deciding how to approach the final heist-like mission to break into the power plant. Your choices absolutely matter. Characters can live or die based on your decisions. Any ally can be permanently lost with one wrong move. And there are multiple endings. In fact, you can even use the Chernobylite's power to redo certain choices via surreal dream sequences, which is a neat way to implement timeline jumps in the narrative. For hardcore players, there's a challenge in optimizing your base and resources, and a higher difficulty that makes enemies deadlier and survival tougher. Casual players might appreciate the ability to tweak survival settings to make the zone more forgiving and focus on the story. On PS5, 2 graphic modes let you choose between slick 60 FPS performance or a 4K ray-traced atmospheric feast. Either way, it runs great and looks moody as heck. If you're into games like STLKR, Metro, or Fallout, Chernobylite will be up your alley. Yet it stands on its own with a unique blend of sci-fi and reality. It's definitely an underrated experience. A bit of a slow burn, but once it sinks its radioactive hooks in, you'll be compelled to see it through. Just remember, in the zone, every decision can haunt you, literally. Talk about a game that delivers exactly what it promises on the tin. Evil West is a balls-to-the-wall action experience that asks, do you want to be a cowboy who mercilessly annihilates vampires and monsters with electrified weapons and a barrage of bullets? If your answer is heck yeah, then strap in, partner. This is a good old-fashioned linear action game, and I mean that in the best way. It's refreshingly straightforward and ridiculously fun. You play as Jesse Rentier, a gruff monster-hunting cowboy with a powered gauntlet that can fry creatures to a crisp. The story's a Wild West meets gothic horror romp. Think spaghetti western fused with a heavy metal vampire comic. It never takes itself too seriously, and that's perfect. The combat is the star. You've got melee combos with your lightning gauntlet, a Rentier rifle for popping heads at range, a revolver for fanning the hammer, a flamethrower, a crossbow. The game just keeps arming you with cooler gear as you progress. Encounters are arena-style brawls where you face swarms of enemies, from feral vampires to hulking abominations. And the challenge comes from juggling all these threats with style. Dodge, parry, uppercut an enemy into the air, then juggle it with revolver shots, smash another into a spike trap. The combat flow is fast, fluid, and hugely satisfying, especially once you unlock deeper upgrades. Visually, Evil West embraces its bonkers premise. One moment you're in a dusty frontier town, the next in a creepy cave with fleshy growths and glowing occult symbols. It's all very pulpy and striking. The game got great critical reception for being a fun throwback to linear action games, but oddly it didn't blow up sales-wise, which is a shame, because more people need to experience this. It's also completely co-op playable with a friend online, so you can tag team the vampire horde, which doubles the fun. There's something almost nostalgic about playing a game like this in 2025. No open world fluff, no microtransactions, just level-by-level kick-ass action with some cool boss fights to top it off. It's meaty enough too, around 10 to 12 hours, and it keeps the energy high throughout with visceral gameplay and high-fidelity graphics that really show off the gore. We're talking splattered vampire guts and crackling electricity effects everywhere. Whether you're a hardcore action gamer, try the harder difficulty, it'll test you, or a casual player who just wants to feel powerful slaying demons without overcomplicated systems, Evil West has you covered. In a gaming landscape filled with complexities, Evil West's straightforward, fun-first approach is a breath of fresh, or rather blood-tinged, air. Don't let this one ride off into the sunset without you. It's one hell of a wild ride. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits feels like stepping into a playable Pixar movie, and it's criminal that more people haven't experienced its magic. You play as Kenna, a young spirit guide in a lush world, brimming with ancient forests, ruined villages, and adorable little creatures called the Rot, who help you on your journey. Visually, this game is stunning. The environments are so beautiful and the animations so polished that you'll be stopping every few minutes just to soak in the scenery. But it's not just a pretty face. The gameplay will hook you too. Combat is snappy and surprisingly challenging at times. You've got your trusty staff that doubles as a bow, light, and heavy attacks, dodges, parries, the whole deal. And as you free corrupted spirits, you earn upgrades that let you get creative in battles. The boss fights in particular stand out. Each one is like a memorable puzzle and action test rolled into one. Some will put your skills to the test, harkening back to classic Zelda-style encounters. In between fights, you'll be exploring and solving puzzles with the help of your rot buddies, who can move objects, trigger switches, and even envelop Kenna to unleash powerful attacks when charged up. The balance of action, platforming, puzzle solving, and exploration will give you serious vibes of the N64/GameCube adventure era. Think Zelda meets Jak and Daxter with a touch of Studio Ghibli's heart. The story is earnest and heartfelt. It's about helping troubled spirits move on, and by the end it might just tug your heartstring. Casual players will love Kenna's approachable difficulty, and there's even story mode for those who just want to enjoy the tale. While hardcore folks can try the Master Spirit Guide difficulty for a real challenge and an extra trophy. And speaking of trophies, this game beckons you to explore every corner for collectibles and upgrades, a treat for the completionists among us. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits is a wonderful first game from Ember Lab, combining top-notch art and animation with solid, classic gameplay design. It's elegant in its simplicity and absolutely worth your time if you love adventure with a big heart. Like a Dragon, Giden is an underdog story both in plot and in how it's been received. It brings back Kazuma Kiryu, the one and only legendary Yakuza, for a new chapter, but in a more bite-sized form than the sprawling epics of the main Yakuza, now Like a Dragon series. And Giden Kiryu has taken on a secret identity and is trying to lay low, which of course doesn't last because we wouldn't have an awesome game if he just sat around. The gameplay here throws us back to the series' beat-em-up roots. If you missed smashing thugs with bicycles and traffic cones, rejoice. Kiryu's brawling is front and center and oh so satisfying. He actually gets two fighting styles, the classic Yakuza style, heavy hitting, familiar moves, and the new agent style, which spices things up with high-tech gadgets like electrified bind wires. It lets you play around with enemies in a whole new way, almost like you're Batman in a suit. Swapping between them keeps combat fresh and ridiculously entertaining. Now, Giden isn't as massive as something like Yakuza 0 or Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. It's a more focused adventure, around 10 to 15 hours if you beeline the story. But it packs that time with intense action and a whole lot of heart. The story is intriguing. Kiryu gets pulled into a conflict involving spies and gangsters, and it bridges the gap between Yakuza 6 and the upcoming Like a Dragon 8, so expect some answers and new questions if you're a series fan. But even if you're not deep into the lore, it's a badass standalone tale of a guy who just can't escape the battle. And because it's a Yakuza game at its core, you bet there are diversions. From karaoke, yes, Kiryu can still belt a tune, to casino games, to some wild side missions that range from hilarious to heartfelt. Plus, multiple playstyles in combat give you a medium of personal expression when cracking skulls. Do you go old school Dragon or high-tech agent? Your call. Visually, it's sharp. Running on the Dragon engine, fights have cinematic heat actions that will make you wince and cheer. This game might not have gotten the marketing push of a full numbered title, so a lot of people don't even realize Kiryu had a PS5 outing in 2023. That's what makes it a hidden gem. Giden has plenty of merit to its name, delivering classic Yakuza fun in a concentrated dose. If you love action brawlers with great story beats, or if Kiryu is your boy and you want to see what he's up to, the man who erased his name should definitely be on your playlist. Lost Judgment is a hidden gem that marries the gritty crime drama of a detective novel with the bone-crunching action of a Yakuza game. You play as Takayuki Yagami, a private detective and ex-lawyer in bustling Yokohama, drawn into a chilling case of murder and bullying that takes you through back alleys, high schools, and shady hangouts. This game's narrative is a roller coaster. It tackles some heavy themes, and it'll keep you guessing who done it, with twist after twist, all the way through. One moment you're gathering clues and tailing suspects incognito, the next you're in a high-speed chase or throwing down in a street brawl with punks. Yagami's got moves. You can switch between multiple fighting styles on the fly. Crane kicks for groups, Tiger Fist for one-on-one, plus a new boxing style if you fancy. Combat is as over-the-top as you'd expect from the Yakuza devs. Think smashing a guy with a skateboard or juggling enemies with spin kicks. So satisfying. But Lost Judgment isn't just fists and footwork. You'll also do genuine detective work, stealth infiltration, puzzle solving, even a bit of parkour to chase down clues. And let's not forget the smorgasbord of side content. This game will have you leading a dance club rhythm game, battling in a VR board game, racing drones, playing Sega classics in the arcade, and befriending a freaking detective dog. It's packed with diversions that make the world feel alive. The result is a game that's a thrilling ride through and through, effortlessly bouncing between noir storytelling and zany side quests. Hardcore Yakuza fans likely already love it, but if you're new, fear not. You can jump in without having played the first Judgment. The cases are standalone. Casual players can stick mostly to the main story and still have a blast, while completionists might drown, happily, in dozens of hours of extra content. Graphically, on PS5 it shines. Smooth 60 frames per second, detailed cityscapes, and great character animations. Every roundhouse kick and sarcastic smirk looks ace. Lost Judgment might have been overshadowed by bigger names, but it deserves a spot in the limelight for its unique blend of mystery and mayhem. If a detective action romp sounds even remotely up your alley, don't let this one escape your case file. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is the perfect example of a game that suffered from mistaken identity. After the mediocre reception of Marvel's Avengers, a lot of people were skeptical or simply ignored this one. Big mistake. Guardians of the Galaxy is an absolute blast and arguably one of the best story-driven superhero games out there. You're in control of Peter's Star-Lord Quill, jet booting around and blasting baddies with your dual pistols, but you also command the other Guardians in battle with a simple button press. Sick 'em with Rocket's explosives, call in Gamora for a deadly slash, have Drax throw a freaking boulder. It's chaotic in the best way. Combat is easy to pick up, not overly complex, making it great for casual play, but coordinating the team for maximum damage has just enough strategy to feel rewarding. Where this game truly shines, though, is its story and characters. The writing is chef's kiss. You'll literally laugh out loud at the Guardians' banter. They nail the humor and heart of the movie's comics, and there are some emotional, heartfelt moments that deepen each character. The narrative is linear and tight, a focused 15 to 20-hour adventure, which means pacing is on point with no fluff. Visually, it's a sci-fi spectacle taking you to vibrant alien worlds and giant space stations that are a treat to behold on PS5. And did I mention the soundtrack? It's loaded with 80s hits and original rock anthems that perfectly set the mood. Yes, there's even a mechanic where Star-Lord's Walkman music boosts the team in battle. Unlike Avengers, this is 100% single player. No live service nonsense. And by the end, you feel like you've just experienced a fantastic Guardians movie that you played a part in. Those who gave it a shot sing endless praises about the story and its fresh combat, and we can't argue with that. It's a genuine crowd pleaser. If you're a trophy hunter, it's a relatively chill platinum too, mostly exploration and collectible based, so you get to soak up more lore. Whether you're a Marvel fan or just love a good action adventure with personality, do yourself a favor and give Guardians of the Galaxy a go. This underdog will win you over by the final credits, with maybe a tear in your eye and a smile on your face. Sometimes you just want to log on, team up with friends, or go solo, and shoot a whole bunch of crazy aliens and mutants while watching the numbers go up. Outriders scratches that itch perfectly and does so without ever asking you for a dime beyond the box price. Yep, no microtransactions or seasonal FOMO nonsense here, just an explosive self-contained adventure. This game is a co-op looter shooter that feels like the love child of Gears of War and Destiny after binging 80s sci-fi movies. The premise, you're on a hostile planet, you get freaky superpowers from a cosmic anomaly, and then it's on like Donkey Kong, against hordes of monsters and insurgents. Choose your class. Do you want to set everything on fire? Pyromancer? Bend time and space? Trickster? Impale enemies with earth spikes? Devastator? Or unleash techno turrets? Technomancer? Each class is wildly different, but here's the key. Outriders nailed making you feel like an absolute badass. You don't take cover and whimper. You heal by dealing damage, so the game encourages you to be aggressive and creative. You'll be sprinting into the fray, popping abilities, and mowing down foes in a glorious ballet of destruction. The feedback loop of gear and powers is super addictive. Cool guns raining from the sky, armor with wacky mods that can, say, make your bullets freeze enemies or spawn rockets on headshots. It's constantly rewarding you with more power, and the harder the content you tackle, the better the loot. A perfect challenge-reward balance. Now, story-wise, let's be real. It's B-movie pulp. It's fine, sometimes intriguing, sometimes cheesy, but the game doesn't take itself too seriously. What it does take seriously is letting you have fun, especially with friends. In co-op, combining class abilities, set them on fire, then blast them with a time bubble, is chaotic good fun. Even if you're playing solo, it's absolutely viable and enjoyable because you feel like a one-person army. Outriders had a rough launch with servers, but that's old news. Now it's smooth and even received expansions and updates to keep things interesting. Critics had nitpicks about balance and narrative, but if you just want a really fun game to sink your teeth into, with constant action and sweet loot, Outriders delivers. Trophy hunters will find a mix of grind, kill 10,000 enemies, oh my, and skill-based challenges, but nothing impossibly out of reach. So grab two buddies, pick your altered badass, and go tear up Enoch. Outriders is an underrated blast of cop action that deserves more love. Here's a game that many overlooked at the PS5's launch, and it's high time we give it some love. Sackboy. A big adventure takes the cute burlap mascot from Little Big Planet and drops him into a fully 3D platformer bursting with creativity. It got overshadowed by the likes of Demon's Souls and Spider-Man, Miles Morales, but Sackboy is quietly one of the most fun co-op platformers you can play on the couch. Each level is a whimsical obstacle course in Craft World. We're talking foam, cardboard, glitter, and fabrics coming to life as platforms, enemies, and gadgets. One moment you're dodging sticky soda bubbles in a candy factory. The next you're riding lightning-fast train tracks through a futuristic city. The game keeps throwing fresh ideas at you, introducing new obstacles and mechanics at every turn so it never feels stale. And the music. Some levels sync to the beat of absolute bops. There's a level set to Bruno Mars that will have you dancing in your seat. Sackboy is accessible and chill. It doesn't demand hardcore precision unless you're going for 100% completion. It's the kind of game you can enjoy with family, kids, or non-gamers, thanks to simple pickup and play controls and forgiving difficulty, at least to finish the story. But if you are a hardcore platforming fan, fear not. There are optional time trial levels and bonus objectives that provide a hearty challenge. Plus, snagging all those shiny orbs and prize bubbles for the Platinum Trophy will test your skills in the best way. The charm factor here is off the charts. Sackboy has that distinct PlayStation charm that just makes you smile, and the game's gorgeously crafted levels are a joy to explore. Grab a friend or three, 4-player co-op supported. And this becomes a riot of laughter, especially when you start slapping each other's Sackboys around for fun. In a nutshell, Sackboy. A big adventure is a feel-good, lighthearted romp that deserved more spotlight. So if you need a break from grimdark epics, put on your handcrafted hero costume and jump in. Solar Ash is like a playable daydream, a splash of neon color and high-speed movement in a cosmic landscape. And it's a shame more people haven't taken that dive into its sublime world. From Heart Machine, the folks behind Hyper Light Drifter, this game shifts to 3D and puts you in the slick boots of Ray, a void runner exploring a surreal, gravity-defying world inside a black hole. Translation: get ready to skate, dash, and glide like you're rollerblading in the sky. The movement in Solar Ash is king. It's unbelievably smooth. Imagine the flow of skating games, but you're skating on clouds and grinding on rails that wind through colossal, otherworldly vistas. You have this fluidity of motion that makes just traversing the environment a joy in itself. The game smartly builds challenges around that movement. Platforming segments where you have to chain boosts, jumps, and grapples in one continuous rush to hit a target. And when you nail it, it feels awesome, like you're an acrobatic superhero zipping through a sci-fi fever dream. Combat is present, but takes a backseat to traversal. You'll encounter weird, gooey eyeball creatures and flying beasts. Dispatching them is usually a quick slash or timing puzzle so you can get back to surfing the clouds. Bosses, however, are a highlight. Huge, shadowy remnants that are like living levels themselves. Think Shadow of the Colossus meets Jet Set Radio. You'll be skating along a massive flying serpent, timing jumps to hit its weak points in sequence, all under a ticking clock. These encounters are exhilarating and just challenging enough to make you fist pump when you conquer them. Art-wise, Solar Ash is gorgeous in a unique way. Bright colors contrasted with dark voids, a sort of neon dreamy apocalypse. It's abstract and striking. You might stop just to gawk at the horizon where shattered planets loom in the sky. The story is ethereal and a bit mysterious. You're trying to save your planet from being swallowed by this black hole, and along the way you uncover logs and meet quirky characters that slowly reveal what went down. It's there if you want to dig in, or you can kind of vibe with it in the background. The whole experience is a medium-length affair, 5 to 8 hours maybe, which some might call short, but honestly it's tight. No filler, just the good stuff. It has a few rough edges. A missed jump here or there might annoy, or a camera angle might not cooperate, but those are minor blemishes on an otherwise stellar ride. For casual players, Solar Ash offers an easy mode and a focus on flow over difficulty. You can mostly zen out and enjoy the ride. For hardcore players, there's time challenges and the inherent satisfaction of mastering each area's traversal puzzles, plus a speedrunning community who adore this game's potential. It might have been overlooked due to launching in a busy season, but make no mistake, Solar Ash is a striking experience on the PS5 that deserves way more attention. If you're in the mood for something different, something artistic, fast, and fluid, give it a go. Surfing the Ultra Void is a feeling you won't forget. Ever wished you could step into the shoes of John Connor's Resistance, fighting Skynet in the future war? Terminator. Resistance. Enhanced lets you do exactly that, and it's way better than you'd expect for a game that flew under the radar. This first-person shooter doesn't revolutionize the genre, but it nails the Terminator vibe with a decent story and some of the best use of the movie license we've seen in ages. Picture creeping through ruins with the ominous red eyes of T-800 endoskeletons scanning for you. The game brilliantly captures that tension. You have freedom in how you tackle missions. Go in guns blazing with plasma rifles, rifles, or sneak around disarming traps and hacking computers like a tech-savvy soldier. The PS5 Enhanced Edition spruces up the graphics and performance, making those future battlefields look extra crisp, and even adds an infiltrator mode where you play as a Terminator itself. Ever wanted to be the bad bot? Now you can. Sure, it's a bit old school in design, expect some linear levels and janky moments, but that's part of its charm. What matters is that it makes you feel like you're in James Cameron's post-apocalyptic war, plasma rifle in hand, taking down HK drones and saving humanity. Terminator. Resistance is the definition of a hidden gem. Not perfect by any means, but if you're a fan of the films or just enjoy a solid shooter with multiple ways to approach objectives, you'll have a blast saying, "Hasta la vista" to legions of machines. For PlayStation racers who've been eyeing Forza Horizon with envy, the Crew Motorfest is like a gift from the gaming gods. This is your ticket to a high-octane car festival in a Hawaiian paradise, and it's way more awesome than anyone expected. After a couple of earlier Crew games that were a bit hit or miss, Motorfest comes roaring in, firing on all cylinders. They've plopped you on the gorgeous island of Oahu, filled it with hundreds of the world's coolest cars and bikes and more, and said, "Here's your playground. Go nuts." The map isn't absurdly huge for no reason. It's actually smaller and denser, crafted with a ton of detail and varied terrains. You can blaze through twisting mountain roads, drift around beachside highways, and then take a dirt path into a lush rainforest without missing a beat. And the events? Oh boy, the variety. Street races, off-road rallies, vintage car throwback series, hypercar competitions. Motorfest has them all and then some, ensuring the gameplay doesn't get stale. One moment you're in a Lamborghini slicing through Honolulu's downtown, the next you're in a dune buggy catching air off volcanic slopes. It's all set to the vibe of a car festival. Think Horizon's vibe. There are themed playlists of events celebrating different car cultures, and the game constantly celebrates the joy of driving. Visually, on PS5 it's a treat. Bright blue skies, shimmering ocean, and detailed car models that make photo mode irresistible. It's clear Ubisoft took some inspiration from Forza Horizon's formula, but hey, borrowing good ideas isn't a crime when you execute them this well. Importantly, Motorfest fine-tuned the driving physics and progression, so it feels great whether you're a casual racer using assists or a hardcore gearhead going full sim mode. The online integration is smooth. You'll see other players free roaming, and you can instantly join up for events or just show off your custom rides. And if you're into tuning and customization, there's plenty to tinker with to make each car your own. The Crew Motorfest kind of flew under the radar due to the legacy of its predecessors and being multi-platform, but trust me, it stands out as one of the most enjoyable racing games on PS5 right now. If you love the thrill of open-world racing, or even if you just want to chill and cruise around a tropical island listening to tunes, give Motorfest a spin. It's a remarkable comeback for the series that no racing fan should miss. The Pathless is one of those rare games that grabs you not with complex mechanics or over-the-top action, but with the pure joy of movement and exploration. It's an open-world archery adventure where the simple act of getting from point A to B is incredibly rewarding. You play as the Hunter, a master archer tasked with lifting a curse from a mystical island, accompanied by an eagle who's as much your friend as it is your mode of transportation. What sets the Pathless apart right away is how you traverse its world. There's no minimap, no clutter, just you, your bow, and your instinct. Scattered across the landscape are talismans that you shoot with your bow to gain speed boosts. Because your character auto-sprints and maintains momentum, you end up gliding across meadows and ruins as you nail targets in a rhythmic flow. It's like choreographing a dance with your arrow shots. And guess what? No fall damage. No stamina bar nonsense. The game wants you to feel like a nimble superhero. After a few minutes, you'll be chain dashing through forests and leaping off cliffs, then signaling your eagle to soar and carry you over gaps. And it just feels phenomenal. This fluid movement system makes exploring the island deeply engaging. You see something interesting on the horizon? You'll sprint and fly there in no time, enjoying every second of the journey. The world itself is gorgeous and wide open, but it's not overwhelming in size. It's broken into regions like a forest, a desert, snowy mountains, etc., each with its own ancient structures and secrets. The Pathless respects your intelligence and curiosity. It won't bombard you with waypoints. Instead, you use a spirit vision to see red lights in the distance that hint at puzzle locations or objective. Puzzles are woven organically into the environment, often involving shooting arrows through torch puzzles or moving symbols, and they strike that perfect balance, clever enough to make you feel smart, but never obtuse. As you solve them, you'll collect tokens to unlock towering obelisks that cleanse the cursed land. Now, about that curse, there are roaming giant spirits corrupted by darkness, essentially the boss encounters. When one's nearby, the world can shift into a tense stealth sequence where you avoid their gaze, adding a nice change of pace as you creep with your eagle, holding it tight to calm it. So wholesome. The boss fights themselves are epic, multi-phase events. First, you'll chase them at high speed, Hitting talismans to keep up, your archery on the move skills get tested. Then you'll have a more traditional showdown with arrows and quick dodges. These battles are cinematic and satisfying without being frustrating. The story is minimalistic, told through gorgeous visuals and a few NPC spirits, but it carries a moving theme of restoring light to a world fallen to darkness. A classic, resonant tale. The music, composed by Austin Windry, deserves a shout. It's dynamic, swelling with drums and chants as you gain momentum, then soft and mysterious when you're quietly solving puzzles. It really amplifies the game's emotional core. The Pathless has been around since PS5's launch, but it sort of got swept under the tide of bigger launch titles. That's a real shame, because it's easily one of the most striking and serene experiences on the PS5, deserving much more attention from the masses. It's a game that trusts you to discover its world at your own pace, making every secret you uncover feel earned and every vista you survey feel awe-inspiring. For casual players, it's accessible. You can't even technically die in the game. Mistakes just slow you down. And you can engage with as much or as little of the side content as you want. For hardcore players, speedrunning this game is a dream once you master the traversal, and there are extra tough puzzles and hidden lore bits to find everywhere. In essence, the Pathless offers something we all need once in a while, an adventure that's purely about the joy of exploration and the thrill of the journey, without 1,000 markers telling you where to go. Put on your mask, take up the bow, and become the hunter. An unforgettable, free-flowing world awaits. Weird West lives up to its name, and then some. It's an action RPG that throws you into a twisted version of the Wild West, where gunslingers rub shoulders with werewolves, witches, and other occult creepy crawlies. Ever wonder what Cowboys vs. Cthulhu might feel like? This is it. The game is brought to life by some of the brains behind Dishonored and Prey, and you can feel that immersive sim pedigree shine through. Gameplay is hugely open-ended. It plops you into these sandbox environments and basically says, figure it out, partner. Got a gang of outlaws holed up in a saloon? Maybe you'll go in guns blazing, or maybe you'll sneak through a side window, transform into a werewolf. Yep, that can happen, and scare them into surrender. Perhaps you'll set the place on fire and kick down the door during the chaos, or even talk your way in with a fake bounty poster. The freedom to be creative is the real star here. The game is structured as a series of stories. You experience the Weird West through the eyes of 5 different characters, one after the other, each with their own goals and moral dilemmas. And these aren't disconnected tales. They intertwine in cool ways. Your actions with one character might affect the world for the next. It's super satisfying to see, say, a town you saved earlier now thriving when you return as a new hero. Combat is a mix of twin-stick shooter and RPG, dodging bullets, using abilities like lightning storms or enchantments, and smart use of the environment. Pro tip, puddles plus electricity, Chama shocked enemy. It can be challenging, but in a way that makes you want to approach fights cleverly. The world building is top-notch. One moment you're dealing with a very human problem like avenging a family, and the next you're entangled in a dark ritual or fighting a pigman. Yes, Pigman, in a mine. There's a constant sense of discovery and what the heck will I run into next that keeps you hooked. The writing has that gritty western drawl to it, mixed with dark humor. Fans of hardcore RPGs will dig the depth. There's loot, upgrades, perks to customize your gunslinger or sorcerer, etc. Casual players might enjoy sticking to easier difficulties and just soaking in the story and unique setting, since you can absolutely brute force through if you lower the challenge and focus on narrative. Weird West encourages you to get creative and rewards your curiosity. This is the kind of game where trying something crazy often leads to the coolest moment. Underrated? For sure. It kind of quietly released without a huge splash, but those who played it know it's something special. If roaming a demon-infested frontier where your choices truly matter sounds intriguing, saddle up, gunslinger, and give Weird West a go. Bugsnax might look like a sugar-coated kids game, cute googly-eyed creatures that are half bug, half snack, but oh boy, it's so much more than it appears. This quirky adventure serves up a surprisingly flavorful story that can get pretty dark at times in the best possible way. You play as a journalist exploring Snacktooth Island, capturing Bugsnax Pokeball style using creative gadgets and sauces. Yes, you lure a Bunger Burger with ketchup and it's hilarious. Each Bugsnax has its own silly behavior to figure out, and the process of catching them is an addictive puzzle. Imagine Pokemon meets a Food Network show with a dash of mystery thrown in. The cast of Muppet-like Grumpuses you meet have tons of personality and charm, and as you feed them these Bugsnax, their limbs turn into food. Kinda creepy, kinda cool. There's this underlying suspense as you uncover why the island's resident explorer went missing, and the narrative gets deeper than the cutesy visuals suggest. It's a game that casual players will enjoy for its funny dialogue and collectible hunting, while hardcore gamers might appreciate the hidden lore and side quests. And if you're a trophy hunter, get ready for a fun ride. Finding and catching all 100 Bugsnax is a satisfying challenge that'll keep you hooked till the end. Don't sleep on Bugsnax. It's weird, it's wonderful, and it'll definitely snake up on you. Dying Light 2 is an open-world zombie adventure that didn't quite get the love it deserved, possibly because some promises fell through, but if you skip it, you're missing out on one of the most flat-out fun sandbox experiences on PS5. Imagine a sprawling city gutted by apocalypse, and you're basically Spider-Man. If Spider-Man could dropkick zombies off rooftops. The parkour in this game is phenomenal. You'll be sprinting across skylines, leaping between buildings, and vaulting over undead like an acrobat on Red Bull. And as you progress, it only gets better. You unlock a glide/paraglider that lets you soar between towers and an improved grappling hook that makes traversal even more exhilarating. By day, the city is yours to explore, scavenging and helping survivor settlements. By night, the streets flood with terrifying infected, and the adrenaline really pumps. Combat is visceral, melee-focused mayhem. Mod a machete to shock enemies, or bash bandits with table legs. And it's been refined since the first game, with new moves and tools that expand your combat options. Story-wise, you're making tough choices in a world where humanity is hanging by a thread, and those choices actually change the city and narrative. Multiple endings, baby. Granted, the plot can be a bit all over the place, but the gorgeous graphics and oodles of content will keep you immersed. You can sink dozens upon dozens of hours into side quests, co-op with friends, yes, 4-player co-op parkour chaos, and clearing out undead hives. Hardcore gamers will enjoy ramping up the difficulty and chasing legend levels, while casual players can stick to story mode and just enjoy the ride. If you're a trophy hunter, prepare for a lengthy but satisfying journey. There's so much to do. Dying Light 2 might not be a media darling, but it's the ultimate zombie playground, where the parkour and creative combat truly shine. Stay human, and give this one a shot. How about a chill game for a change of pace? Haven is the ultimate cozy up with a loved one game, though you can absolutely enjoy it solo too. It's an indie gem where you play as you and Kay, two lovers who have escaped to a lost planet, and it's all about staying together no matter what. Right from the start, the game draws you in with its vibe. You're gliding over neon-tinted grass fields hand in hand, skating almost as mellow electronic music plays in the background. Movement in Haven feels so good. You smoothly drift and twirl around the landscape, collecting energy flow and ingredients, occasionally pausing to take in a beautiful sunset or a strange alien vista. There's no rush. This is a game that lets you breathe, but it's not just an exploration walking sim. There's a story and some surprisingly engaging gameplay under the hood. You and Kay left everything behind, so you'll see them building a new life. Cooking meals, crafting tools, having cute and heartfelt conversations at camp. Their dialogue feels real and warm, with humor and tenderness that actually makes you care about them as a couple. By the end, you'll probably feel like they're your friend. When it comes to action, Haven features a unique real-time with pause combat system, where you control both characters simultaneously, or grab a partner because it supports seamless couch co-op throughout the whole story. Fights require timing and teamwork. One character can stun or shield, while the other strikes, and you sync them up for combo attacks. It's simple to grasp, but keeps you on your toes, especially coordinating two characters. The enemies are corrupt creatures of this planet, and cleansing them ties into the overall theme of fixing this broken world together. What's refreshing is that Haven isn't about a grand save-the-universe plot. It's intimate. It's about the bond between you and Kay, and that emotional core keeps you invested through the 10 to 12-hour journey. Casual players will love the chill exploration and story focus. It's very much a story-driven adventure that doesn't punish you with extreme difficulty. Hardcore players, if you're open to something lighter, will still find a compelling experience here, and some hidden areas and choices to explore. Trophy hunters, note that it's a reasonably easy list that basically asks you to experience all aspects of the game. Yes, you'll get a trophy for cooking a new recipe or taking a bath. How wholesome is that? If you have a player 2 in your life, spouse, friend, anyone, Haven is a fantastic couch co-op experience. Think of it like playing an interactive romance anime together. Underrated and largely unknown, Haven will surprise you with its heart and style. It's the kind of game you relax with, and when you finish, you feel like you just watched a really good show that few people know about. Don't let it slip by. Death's Door is an indie action-adventure that absolutely nails that classic Zelda-esque formula, and then sprinkles in a pinch of Dark Souls for flavor, creating something familiar, yet fresh. You play as a little crow, in a suit and tie no less, who works as a reaper, collecting souls for a bureaucratic afterlife commission. It sounds grim, but the game's tone is actually a wonderful mix of melancholy and wit. It's charming, in a goth sort of way. You'll meet quirky characters like an embalmer obsessed with writing eulogies, or a noodle-obsessed chef stranded in a swamp. Don't be fooled by the cute crow, though. When it's time to fight, this bird means business. Combat in Death's Door is tight, responsive, and rewarding. You start with just a sword and a bow, but as you explore, you'll find more weapons, giant hammer, daggers, etc., and magic abilities, fireballs, hooks that expand your arsenal. Every swing, dodge, and blast feels great. Enemies hit hard, and your crow is actually quite fragile. It only takes a few hits to go down, so combat is about timing and observing enemy patterns, not button mashing. This is where that Souls vibe comes in. It can be punishing if you're careless, especially in boss fights, but it's the kind of difficulty that never feels unfair. When you die, you're like, alright, I got this now. And man, those boss fights are memorable. From a giant castle full of sentient pots commanded by the Urn Witch, yes, imagine being chased by a mansion on legs, to a ferocious Yeti-like beast lurking in an old summit. Each has its own attack patterns and puzzle-like elements to figure out, making victory oh so sweet when you finally deliver that last blow. What really sets Death's Door apart is its world design and pacing. It's inspired by the classic Legend of Zelda dungeon structure. Think themed regions like an overgrown ruin, a spooky mansion, etc., each with secrets to uncover and a big key to find. But it's streamlined. No filler keys or trivial puzzles, and interconnected in clever ways. There are hidden paths and collectibles everywhere, and finding them rewards you with health upgrades, magic boosts, or lore tidbits. The exploration feels just right, linear enough that you're never truly lost, but open enough that when you spot a shiny thing behind a gate early on, you'll be itching to come back later with newfound powers. The atmosphere is another highlight. The art style is somewhat minimalist but evocative, with gorgeous lighting and painterly environments. Coupled with one of the best musical scores in recent memory, haunting piano melodies that swell into epic orchestral pieces at just the right moments, the game can give you goosebumps. And story-wise, it's subtle but surprisingly emotional by the end, touching on themes of life, death, and what gives meaning to our time in between. For those who want a challenge, Death's Door is an absolute gem. Not brutally hard, but it will test your reflexes and puzzle solving in equal measure. For more casual players, the difficulty might spike now and then, but stick with it. You can always grind a bit for upgrades or just learn patterns, and you'll experience one of the most polished adventures out there. Plus, it's not a super long game, around 8 to 10 hours for the main story, which means it respects your time and doesn't overstay its welcome. And if you're a completionist, going for 100%, which unlocks a secret post-game ending, is totally worth it and very doable, as the game's blend of exploration and dungeon crawling is near perfect. In short, Death's Door takes the soul of classic action adventures, trims the fat, ramps up the charm, and delivers a poignant, challenging journey that'll stick with you. Don't fear the Reaper, folks. Be the Reaper and have a blast doing it. Ever dream of a game where a badass anthropomorphic bunny rabbit decks robots with a giant mechanical fist? Look no further than FIST, Forged in Shadow Torch, a mouthful of a title that disguises one of the finest Metroidvania adventures in recent years. This game flew under most people's radar, launching alongside bigger titles and with little marketing. But once you get your paws on it, you'll wonder how this gem stayed hidden. You play as Rayton, an ex-soldier rabbit in a diesel punk city occupied by a robotic legion. The world of Torch City is a gritty, Shanghai-inspired metropolis filled with neon signs, dark alleys, and gear-filled factories, all inhabited by animal folk. It's a refreshing setting, at once cute, talking bunny, and cool. Lots of steampunk machinery and smoky ambiance. Now the gameplay. Classic side-scrolling exploration with a hefty dose of combat. Rayton's mechanical arm, the FIST, is your starting weapon, and it feels so satisfying to punch, uppercut, and ground slam enemies into scrap metal. Before long, you earn a drill. Great for heavy, slow attacks and breaking defenses, and a whip, long-range, lightning-fast strikes, effectively giving you a rock, paper, scissors arsenal to switch between. The beauty is how the game encourages mixing up these tools. Each one also doubles as a means to explore, drill to break walls and dash in midair, whip to yank yourself to grapple points, etc. So combat and exploration are constantly feeding into each other. The level design is chef's kiss, a sprawling map with interconnecting areas, from sewers to skyscrapers, deserts to labs, and loads of secrets accessible only after you find new abilities. Exactly what you want in a Metroidvania. And those abilities, double jump, glide, etc., make backtracking a joyous newfound playground rather than a chore. Now, let's talk challenge. FIST isn't easy. Enemies hit hard, and bosses will test you. But it's the good kind of challenge where each defeat teaches you something. The combat is deep and excitingly brutal, rewarding skillful combos and timing. If you die, tweak your approach, maybe try a different weapon or strategy, and you'll get it. There's an RPG-light progression, chip upgrades, health, energy boosts hidden around, so exploring off the main path is always rewarded. Visually and orally, this game impresses. Running on Unreal Engine, It has fantastic lighting and detailed environments, and the soundtrack sets a moody, heroic tone when needed. It's also dripping with Eastern game design influences, which gives it a different flavor from, say, your typical Western indie Metroidvania, more combo-heavy combat, and a storyline that takes itself seriously. Speaking of story, it's there and it's decent. Rebellion against a tyrant, old war buddies, and some emotional stakes. It won't win an Oscar, but it gives Rayton's journey purpose and a few cool twists. FIST is an excellent offering that got surprisingly little attention at launch, but make no mistake, it's top tier in its genre. For hardcore Metroidvania fans, this is a no-brainer. Challenging combat, rewarding exploration, and a novel setting. For casual players, the early difficulty might be a hurdle, but if you stick with it, maybe drop to easy mode, you'll find an approachable adventure that steadily empowers you. And hey, trophy hunters, it's a fun one to 100%. Not too long, and you basically get to see everything the game has to offer, plus an awesome true ending by doing so. Forged in Shadow Torch punches well above its weight. Don't miss out on this diesel punk rabbit's tale of resistance. It's one of those games that truly everyone should give a chance. And there you have it, 20 PS5 games that probably slipped right past your radar like a stealthy ninja wearing noise-canceling Crocs. Now, be honest, how many of these did you actually know about? 1, 2, none? Don't worry, you're not alone. That's the beauty of hidden gems. Finding them feels like discovering buried treasure. Only instead of gold, you get an emotional roller coaster, addictive gameplay, and maybe a new favorite character who'll live rent-free in your head. So, what are you playing next? Which one are you downloading right now while pretending to listen to this outro? And hey, if this list helped you stumble upon your next gaming obsession, do the good deed. Drop a like, hit that sub button, and share this with that one friend who only plays Call of Duty and nothing else. You know the one. Until next time, keep your controllers charged, your backlog cursed, and your heart open to the games no one's talking about, but absolutely should be. Catch you in the next one. Game on, video game.